Hi everyone and welcome to episode 7 of Relegation Rescue at Portimonense with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So in the last couple of games since you and I were together, it's been a bit of a mixed form again, but we are still absolutely smack bang where we would absolutely have dreamt to be at the beginning of the season when we took over this club at the bottom of the table. We're now sitting in the top half of the table, which is fantastic. Can we get one of those Europa League places? Not sure. It's probably slipping away a little bit. To do that, I think we would need to win today, and today we have a much improved and fourth placed Sporting Lisbon. So let's get into the episode and see how we get on. So here we are back at Portimonense. If we go to the league table straight away, you'll see we are in that top half but we are still in the top half, sitting in 9th currently. We have been as high as 8th recently, but dropped down a little bit again because we've recently had another loss, which was unfortunate, but that's just par for the course, it feels like, really, because we are just inconsistent a little bit here and there. But considering where we took over the club, this is pretty spectacular, to be honest. I'm delighted about where we finish, where we find ourselves. Get my teeth in and sort my words out, for goodness sake. But that last place of the Europa League spots in 6th, I think feels a little bit beyond us, maybe, unless we can win today against Sporting, who find themselves in 5th place. Did I say 4th in the intro? Not sure, but 5th place for them. And they're a couple of points ahead of 6th place as well. So we need to start reeling them in a little bit if we're going to find a Europa League spot. I think it might be beyond us, if I'm totally honest. But that's absolutely fine. Anywhere that we finish now is an absolute bonus, because I can basically say we're not going to get relegated. And that, after all, for half a season was our only intention, was to not get relegated. Finding them at bottom of the table at Christmas, I think we've done a good job. So far so good. Today we get Sporting, and they're going to be a challenge. So here we are looking back at the recent fixtures. You can see we got a 2-0 win and a 1-0 loss. So again, mixed form, but having had such a great run of it recently, I'm not complaining too badly, really. Today, Sporting's going to be tricky, isn't it? But Vitinho keeps scoring goals, which is fantastic. 6 in 6 starts, which is brilliant for him. Ably assisted by the likes of Job and Denner, who have been getting the goals recently. You can see Denner's name cropping up every so often. So that's really, really positive as well. We've got a few interesting matches to come, but I would say infinitely winnable, all of them, other than maybe today's episode. Potentially this is the last really, really tricky side that we've got now that they've found themselves a little bit of form. After that, the final 4 games, I think we could potentially get, 9 points out of that, maybe 10? We'll have to wait and see, but hopefully a good performance today can lift the morale again, having had that recent loss, get us back on track, get the momentum behind us, and then we can go into the actual run-in of the last few games in good spirits. Let's see if we can do that today against Sporting Lisbon. So you can see that we've got some injury issues and fitness issues. A lot of these are on the bench because they can all play a part, but just not the 90 minutes. The likes of William Rocker still not quite able to play the whole game. So we'll hopefully get him some game time at some point to bring him back in for the last few games, because he's a really good central defender for us. Although Pozzagnolo has done very, very well as an able replacement. You can see the likes of Hackman, Candy and Marquez have all got a little issues, but as I say, all perfectly fine to be on the bench. Medeiros is still about 7 days away from coming back and being an option off the bench. I'm not sure how much he'll be able to play in the last few games of the season, but we'll bring him back in and hopefully get him some game time here and there. And the same for Lucas Fernandez, the guy that we've never had the opportunity to play because he's been so injury prone since we came to the club. He's got another 5 or 6 days left in theory, but after such a long layoff, it's going to take a long time for him to get up to match sharpness, I would imagine. Whether we can play him in a very late game, I'm still not 100% sure. But the thing that we've been absolutely, totally blessed by is Denner, the guy that's been playing instead of him in this central midfield, attacking midfield role, has been doing fantastically well. 8 goals in 30 appearances, 3 assists, 6 XG rating. He's got a couple of Player of the Match awards. So he's been absolutely far better than I thought he would, and has negated the loss of Fernandes as much as is possible, really. I think it's been fairly spectacular. So yeah, some injury issues, but nothing too major. The side is fairly settled, and that means for today against Sporting Lisbon, we go with Ferreira in goal, Mufi at right back, Anzi at left back, Maurizio and Pozagnolo in central defence, with Sarr, Rashid and Denner in central midfield, Job on the right, Messias on the left and Vitinho up top, and obviously still our 9-man bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So the last time we played Sporting, it didn't go so well, so we've been able to use the I know you lot are keen to avenge what happened last time in that match, so we get out and see if we can sort of rile them up a little bit. We did it with pumping fists as well, just to see if we can get them to really be up for this particular match. It's a home game, so that's really positive. It's against a side that are on the up in terms of where they have been recently. They've been right the way down near the bottom, haven't they, for a while this season, so they're obviously on a good run themselves, but we're in good form, so I'm hopeful that we can show that. Denner on the ball, straight through to Vitinho, and we do show it after 8 minutes. It was a fantastic opportunity to break really quickly on them. We received the ball from a sloppy clearance from their defender. If you watch this one here, straight into midfield, and it bypasses them. Maurizio picks it up, Sarr into Denner, turns, sees Vitinho on the shoulder of the last man, pokes it round the corner, and he runs onto it and puts the ball in the back of the net. No problems. Is there an offside? Did Vitinho manage to hold his run? He did, which is brilliant to see, and that's his 7th of the season, which is magnificent, seeing as it's only been since February, which has really helped us out in this particular period of the season to really get back higher than where we found them in the first place. Again, a loose ball from Sporting. Denner picks it up, receives it again, out wide to Job. Job slows the pace down, back to Denner, and then what was that? That was an absolute cannonball of a shot, but it was miles out and didn't really challenge the goalkeeper at all. Disappointing at the end of a really good move though, working primarily down that right hand side, and Denner has very much been the star of our show so far, hasn't he, since we built him up before the game, suggesting how he'd negated the impact of losing Fernandes so well, and today he's really showing it, isn't he? A fabulous first half. It could have been 2 up, which would have been fantastic really, but I'll take the 1-0. They've had 4 shots at goal, none on target, 6 and 2 for us, so we're ahead in that, and we've got a higher possession percentage as well, which is really positive. So all in all, we can be very happy with that. So we're going to go in there, outstretched arms. I'm delighted with the performance. Keep it up. That's the important thing. We've got to keep it going. Straight back out for the second half. No reason to change anybody just at the moment, although Rashid and Denner are looking a little bit lower than others in their sort of natural sharpness at the moment. So we might have to make a couple of key substitutions later in the game. But this is kind of what we want really now, isn't it? A game that's not got too many highlights for the first sort of half hour of the second half. And the highlight comes for us, and it's down the right-hand side from a throw-in, back to Rashid, back out on this wide right to Mufi, back into Sarr. And we keep the ball very nicely. Jobs cut inside him a little bit and got involved in the play, but then we lose out and they counter-attack really well. Camacho down the right-hand side of the penalty box, and then a bit of a wild shot really, and the goalkeeper manages to get a hand on it and push it over the top of the bar for a Sporting corner. The corner comes in, partially cleared. Denner gets hold of the ball, holds it nicely, and then brings the foul from Fedel, and hopefully that will alleviate the pressure a little bit. And we got a left-sided throw-in back to Anzi, so we've controlled the throw-in very nicely. Denner takes over, and we're working the left-hand side on this occasion. Almost lost it there, but Vitinho drops back in to help out about with the possession of the football. Jobs got himself down a little bit of an alleyway there, and we were a little bit lucky to maintain possession, I think. But we have done it very nicely, and it's Rashid back on the ball again. Back into our defensive area, into the striking area again. So we're building so well, keeping the ball, very short, sharp passes, and then a long shot straight down the sights of the goalkeeper. And he just about manages to claw it away, but he made a bit of a hash of it, really. A good deep corner kick, and then a header, a looping header just over the top. And we're going to pause it at that point. After 75 minutes, it's time to make a couple of changes and just protect these legs of the players, specifically Job and Rashid, so they don't do themselves any form of injury. So Job comes out, Boamorti comes in, and Rashid comes out, and Silva comes in, and then we've got a couple more that we can make as well. Let's take out both the full-backs and give the two that have got a little bit of fitness issues some game time, just to help boost that up a little bit. We've got one more we can make, and we're going to take Messias out, and we're going to put Valente in and just allow him to play for the last few minutes of the game. Those are the changes we're going to make, and we'll just have to wait and see whether we can see this fixture out. But hopefully the fresh legs right the way across the pitch in some key areas will help us to do it. 83 minutes. Can we get a highlight-free last few minutes of the game and take the points? We can't quite manage it. It looks like it's a Sporting throw-in down the left-hand side. Can we clear the ball? We don't. And they've made us pay for it. The looping header over the top into the box, wasn't it? Let's just check out that replay. So the throw-in comes in onto the head, the looping header right the way over the top. Look at that for a strike, though, from Spera. And it's a real bit of a gut punch, isn't it, really, so late on in the game. But I feel like it was potentially always there whilst we only had a 1-0 lead. And in the end, we get a 1-1 draw at home to Sporting. Not a bad result at all, but slightly disappointing when we were moments away from potentially winning the game. Disappointing that, but there we go. I'm not going to overanalyze this particular performance. We're going to have a slightly quicker episode today, just because I think it was a fairly bog-standard game. There weren't too many highlights. We played really well up the spine of our side, didn't we? If you put Rashid in there as well, I think that's where we were successful. Just that last little lapse in concentration from the guys at the back, and we eventually come out as 1-1 against Sporting. So just before we go and check out exactly what we're doing for next episode, the table suggests that nothing much has changed, really. We've played the 30th match. Obviously, loads around us. We were the first of the weekend to play, so loads of teams around us have still got to play that 30th match. So things are going to change, I would imagine. We can't lose too much ground, though, which is positive in terms of positional sense. Obviously, points-wise, we could, if a couple of the teams above us dragged themselves away from us a little bit. But, you know, that's just the way it is at this particular moment. 30 games played, 38 points. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go and check out what we're up to next episode. 2 more episodes to go of this particular series, remember. The next one is Santa Clara, who find themselves at the bottom of the table currently. So that is an infinitely winnable game. And then the last game in the following episode will be against Tondela. So we got 2 more episodes to go. A couple of games in between those matches as well, just to play through. But overall, this is proving to be pretty spectacular, I would suggest. Now, I think this is far easier than the other relegation rescues that we've done in the past, in FM20, for example, simply because we took over the side in terms of how many games they've played quite early on because of the shift in the season and how that was affected by the pandemic, etc. So I think it's been a little bit easier than normal. We'll be doing another one of these in the next few months at some point. And I suspect that's going to be quite tricky. So what we're going to do with this particular save is, after we finish this season, we're going to save it at that point, and whichever relegation rescue we go and do next will be in this save. So it'll be in season 2. We'll start in the Christmas of season 2, wherever we end up, and we'll play from there. So I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how it differs next time out if the pandemic isn't as impactful in terms of the start of the season. So that's for another another day though. For today, we got an okay 1-1 draw. The form has dipped a little bit. We do have to get that back. We've got some infinitely winnable matches coming up though. 2 episodes still to go. So I hope you'll join me and finish out this series and see how high up we can finish, having, I would say, avoided relegation. So that is really, really cool. So thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. Helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.